So out of all the drama on GTA Twitter over the past week or so came a thread from one creator who claimed to have some inside knowledge about GTA 6. Obviously, we've heard stuff like this before, and I don't want to be clickbaity and make videos about every single time someone makes a thread like this. But this one picked up a lot of reaction online, and to be honest, the stuff that's supposedly leaked isn't that impressive or mind-blowing. So I thought we could kind of talk about it with that massive caveat that this could very well be complete rubbish, so please take it with a grain of salt. Although saying that, it could be true. Who knows? So Legacy Killer HD, also known as Michael on Twitter, says the game is massive, full of a shitload of side content. So, I mean, yeah, we kind of expect the game to be massive. I mean, people, even if it's not bigger, the map isn't bigger than GTA 5, we're still expecting the game overall to be massive. And a lot of side content, yeah, I mean, we've seen the leaks with all the world events in them, and we know that Rockstar are working hard to make this world really feel vibrant and alive. So I would expect a lot of side content. Lots of countryside and towns. Again, that was one of the main criticisms of GTA 5, that everything's so concentrated in Los Santos, and we wanted more cities and towns. But we've sort of seen this in the leaks as well. I mean, we've seen a place called Port Gellhorn, which seems like a proper town, and we would sort of expect this. Main story is shorter than Red Dead 2. One central theme from a few sources is criminals figuring things out. I don't really know what it means by criminals figuring things out. I mean, that's just every GTA game, I feel like. And I wouldn't be surprised if the main story was shorter than Red Dead 2, because Red Dead 2 to me felt like this epic. I mean, how long does it take before you even get to properly play the first mission? It's more, Red Dead 2 is so focused on story, whereas kind of GTA has always had a good story but been more about the action and more about the humour. Family struggles, he says. That's quite interesting. I mean, wouldn't be entirely surprising. Also, we've heard rumours, again, complete rumours, we don't know. We've heard rumours about Lucia possibly having a child. He says, it sounds like a more grounded story to me. I would expect a more grounded story, actually, and I think you can kind of tell that by the trailer. When you look at GTA 5, it's this huge... It's like an action film in video game form. It's not particularly deep. It's got a good story, but it's not that deep. And it's obviously a bit mad and a bit crazy and unrealistic. I mean, the stuff you do in that, I mean, it's just insane. So I would like a more grounded story for GTA 6, and I would sort of expect one based on the trailer. We know that it's a lot to do with Jason and Lucia's relationship and them kind of going around potentially building up their own criminal gang and becoming more and more successful. But he says there's a lot of the usual insanity in missions. Heard some are inspired by the Fast and Furious movies, like there's supposedly something like the below vault chase scene from Fast 5. By the way, I know the Fast and Furious films get a lot of hate, but I absolutely love them, and that scene in particular is one of my favourites. I think that's a great scene. With the vault through the streets of Rio, I think it is. It's in Brazil. And that film has actually, you know, it's weird because I would always compare GTA 5 to Fast and Furious. I feel like GTA 5 is like the Fast and Furious of the game world. And that film in particular, Fast 5, feels very GTA. And so I could totally imagine something like this. Again, I would, obviously, even if it's a grounded story, I would still expect the usual insanity, because overall it is still GTA, and from the trailer we know that there's still going to be that kind of wackiness to it. As far as I know, Lucia is the central character of this story, as Michael is to 5. A lot of the intro was already leaked on Reddit by a prominent community member that passed it off as speculation. I don't actually know about this, so I'm going to have to do some digging and see what these leaks are. I know there's been a load of supposed leaks on Reddit, but none of them ever seem to be kind of substantial enough to properly get into. But I mean, Lucia being the central character of the story, again, I mean, the first trailer was mostly about her, And the first GTA 5 trailer was mostly, well, entirely about Michael, so I guess that kind of adds up. Lucia and Jason have separate intro missions. That also wouldn't surprise me, given that it would make sense to me if Lucia and Jason didn't know each other at the beginning of the story and we meet, much like Franklin and Michael met in GTA 5. There's corrupt cops, a chief, Russians create chaos, all the things you expect from a GTA game. Yep, corrupt cops, that sounds about right for a GTA game. Russians creating chaos. I mean, Miami, I believe, has like a little Moscow area. So we could very well see Russian gangsters. Also, would be a great opportunity for some, Nico crossover, or maybe if not him, someone from kind of GTA 4, although I would doubt we would get Nico at all. A lot of planned and cut content or ideas that didn't go far, like voiced protagonists in online. Online has been worked on for years now. A lot of the fidelity performance options from 5 are supposed to be here, but heard they've struggled with making 60 frames per second happen. Yeah, I would expect them to have worked on online for years, because ultimately I'm not expecting any kind of single player DLCs for GTA 6, sadly, as much as I'd like one. And ultimately online is their cash cow. They're going to make a load of money from selling GTA 6, but they're going to continue making a load of money from GTA Online 2.0 or whatever it is. So they want to make sure it's perfect and they can transition seamlessly from GTA Online in its current form to the next form, so that and do it in a way that doesn't ostracize players, or people don't think, hey, this isn't as good as the last one. As for voice protagonists, I think that would be really tricky, and I don't know how it would work, but obviously it seems like that if this is true, it has been cut anyway. One developer said this was the best project they've worked on at Rockstar in terms of not being overworked to death. Lots of vets were ready to go after Red Dead Redemption 2, and some were happy Dan left. Also, one had unkind words for Laszlo. So on the Laszlo bit, I mean, Laszlo Jones, as I've spoken about in a previous video, was good friends with Dan Houser, and they now work together, and they left around the same time. So make of that what you will. And obviously there's been a lot of talk about Rockstar's culture. It's known for having quite a toxic culture, at least in the past, and there's been a lot of talk about how it's sort of supposedly turned around, and this crunch that we've heard so much about in terms of people working ridiculous hours and not going home and not sleeping and not having breaks, that is supposedly over. There's been a fair bit of reporting on that, and so it's good to hear, and this seems this is not entirely surprising that people are happier now than they were before, if this is true. Basketball minigame was worked on at the Toronto studio. It was on the chopping block at the end of 2023. Always the difficulty talking about a game active in development. Lots more RDR2 gameplay in this than I think some expect. So the basketball minigame, I feel like that's something people online have been talking about a lot, because they wanted a basketball minigame, but seems like it, if this is true, may have been dropped, may not have. Ultimately, we're probably going to get a few mini games in this. I don't know if basketball will be one of them, but golf definitely, and probably some others. And a lot more Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay in this than I think some expect. I'm not sure what they mean by gameplay from RDR2. I don't know if they mean kind of features that are copied and reused from Red Dead Redemption 2, but I would also expect this. In fact, I'm going to make a video coming up fairly soon about the kind of Red Dead Redemption 2 features I would expect in this game, including things like potentially putting weapons in the back of your car as you would put, on your horse's saddle or whatever, and sort of the way you act with NPCs, and you can maybe kind of antagonize them and so on. Supposed fun fact I wasn't able to verify, but heard the original 2016 RDR2 leaked map originated from an internal multi-tool called Bugstar, which, funnily enough, is the name of the extermination company in GTA 5 that you use their kind of equipment and outfits and van to rob the jewelry store. It was used company-wide and not just for bugs. There was one on there for 6, but was taken off at some point. And he ends by saying, now believe me not, I'll speculate on stuff in videos and leave it there. Also not saying more because spoilers, and was planning a video with this info, but I'll let this thread speak for itself instead. 2026 is still very much on the table, but there's a reason I never said anything definitive, because I hadn't heard it. Devs thinking versus knowing is a big difference. And I think that's kind of the key phrase. Devs thinking versus knowing is a big difference. So as I said, there's not a whole lot to go on here, and a lot of it isn't surprising or mind-blowing. Again, could be true, could not be true, but I thought it was interesting to talk about. Please let me know what you think.